Happy Monday. I'm going to give people a couple more minutes to get on, but in the meantime, start adding up any contacts you have made since our last appointment. Last Thursday, so you can count any open houses you did or any contacts you made today.
I am adding to my database because my son is in a soccer team, and I try to add my database all the parents that they are in that soccer team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Definitely want to take advantage of anything like that, any new group or anything. You guys get stuck with me today because our instructor got sick over the weekend, poor thing. So you'll have to bear with me a little bit. I'm probably slightly less prepared than her, but we'll get through the good stuff. Give people one more minute. Everyone welcome Taylor because she's our very newest family member. Just joined at the end of last week to the Keller Williams family. Penny, how's everything going with you? You want to do your accountability check-in? Oh, you're muted.
How about I go after somebody else?
Okay.
This will be my first time. So
Perfect. All right, Derek, go for it.
Yep. So I hosted a open house on Saturday, and then I made a couple contacts at work while I was working.
Great, good job. And Joanna, did you want to say anything else, or was adding those to the database all you wanted to share today? Did you make any contacts outside of that?
I'm trying to work in a campaign because I want to make something massive in social media, but I'm trying.
Okay, good work. Perfect. Stacy, how's everything going with you?
It's going well. I actually got all my contacts finally imported, but the CSV Excel spreadsheet that I was using wasn't labeled correctly, so everything didn't go right. So I imported it again, but then I have duplicates, so I have to go through and so I've been really trying to tune my database this weekend. I did make some calls, but I haven't updated them because I have to get my database correct. And I was trying to find an easy way to do that, and there is just not an easy way. So
yeah, darn it. Okay. Bummer. Well, that is going to be a little bit labor intensive, but will be worth it.
I do have a question though. Did you get the email that I sent with my business card design? I sent it like early last week.
I don't remember seeing that. I'll search for the email.
I'll resend it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll resend it so you can see it because I need to get those ordered definitely.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Taryn, how about you?
Hello. Yeah, I this week spent some time with my prospective client, going over some of the things that he is wanting for his home.
Awesome.
And tried to help him zero in. He's a little bit disorganized, so trying to help him just kind of stay on topic.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so it's been a little challenging with him. He doesn't know where his approval letter went, and so yeah, just dealing with
Does
that.
he know who his letter is?
No, he doesn't
Okay.
even remember that. So
Okay, so might just
yeah,
new connection then.
yes. So you know, he's gonna have a VA, but I'm gonna figure out, you know, a new lender for him so that he can get things going.
Perfect. Okay, how about now, Penny, you ready? How have your contacts been going?
Okay, can you hear me now? I was having a
Yeah.
little difficulty with my unmute. My contacts, I haven't really done anything. I think, I don't know if you remember, we talked about starting after the holidays because everything was hectic and I had just transferred offices. So I now have to make an office at home. So it's just been crazy with everything going on. So I feel like I'm just starting.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's a good spot to be in. Excellent. And Young just joined us. Hi, Young.
Hi.
How's your business going? Good.
Good.
Good. Perfect. Okay. So today we are going to be going through Connect with Your Market. So we will be in our Ignite binder on unit 3 or episode 3, plan 3, whatever you want to call it. And let me pull up that PowerPoint. Oops. I'm gonna go into sharing my screen. Okay, share. And then we will do slideshow. Okay. Oops. Look at Young and Sung Choi just joined. Perfect. Okay. Today's agenda. Oops. There we go. One of Gary Keller's quotes. So here's the truth. If it has been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it has been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world. So today we're going to go through just knowing your market and being familiar with some of the terms that you will hear frequently when people talk about what our market looks like. You will be on this is what your thing will look like to begin with. Yep. We did our daily 10-4s. We're going to be going through some social media engagement today too, which will be great. So, oops. Oh, I'm backwards. That's why. Here we go. Got it. Make sure I'm keeping up with what yours looks like. Okay, so we're going to go over the 3 types of markets. So you'll see this in your book. Now, a buyer's market, when you hear people talk about a buyer's market, historically, that's typically meant that we have more than 7 months of inventory, which has not happened in years. We've seen this shift a little bit differently in our more recent markets. So we typically historically hear a seller's market be less than 5 months of inventory. And then if there was like in between 5 and 7, we would call it a balanced market. How that has changed a little bit is we've actually been really low in inventory, and we'll go a little bit more about what inventory means as well as we go through this. But we have been below like 3 months for years. We were down to even less than 1 month for about a year there. in majority of our markets. So we've seen that change a little bit because historically, when you were below that 4 or 5 months of inventory and you were considered a seller's market, then buyers didn't have a lot of negotiation power. However, when we've even gone from like 0.8 months of inventory or 1 month of inventory up to 2 or 3 months of inventory, some of that buyer negotiation power has come back. We're still technically in a seller's market, but we're feeling a little bit more balanced right now because we've have more than what we had in that scarcity mindset where we had like less than a month of inventory. So we're seeing a little bit more negotiation that you would see typical of a buyer's market than what we are used to just based off of these numbers. So right now, we're technically still in a seller's market. However, like I said, we're feeling a little bit more balanced because there definitely is more room for those buyers negotiations to happen. We're seeing more repair negotiations happening. We're seeing closing costs being covered. We're seeing not, always being competitive against other offers or always asking more than what the list price is. So feeling a little bit more balanced right now, but historically when you hear people talk about buyer's market, balanced market, or seller's market, this is what they're referring to, these months of inventory. So inventory broken down. So inventory is the number of properties for sale within a market. So for instance, if we had 1 month of inventory, what that would mean is if no other houses got listed in the next month, they would all sell. Now, sometimes it's a blend of how many houses are actually in the market and how many buyers are in the market. So if something goes from 1 month of inventory to 1.5 months of inventory, it means either more houses were listed or there's less buyers out shopping. So the rate at which they're buying those houses has slowed. So, or increased. So right now, we as a tool are using, I'm gonna get out of here so I can show you something else real quick. Area Pro. So Area Pro is a benefit of Keller Williams that we have given access to all of our agents, and they are able to go in here and create an area local to you. We have this all over the state, and I'm just gonna use this one for instance. This is all of Eugene real estate market overview, and it goes back to a 6-month period. So it is showing us the prices that the homes are in, which is broken down up here. It shows that we have 2 months supply of inventory. There are 323 active homes in all of Eugene. Our days on market of those active homes are averaging at 97. So the homes are substantially on the market for longer than they were for a while. Pendings, there's 166 of those 323 houses that are pending, which leaves a pending ratio of 51%. Now, if we look at, this is what's active or pending right now. If we look at what's sold in the last 6 months, we have sold 974 houses in Eugene. Their days on market for the ones that successfully sold averaged 41, which means we averaged 162 houses sold per month. And the percent of list price, so 98.8% of list price means when the house listed for sale, they were sold for 98.8% of what that price was. So for a while, when we were in an even hotter seller's market, we were seeing this percent of list price be closer to like 102%, 103%, because on average, they were all selling for over asking. Right now, this 98.8 8% means they're getting close to what they're asking for, but there's definitely been some negotiation there. So on average, they're selling for just under what asking price is. Now, this does not account for closing costs covered. So, for instance, because the MLS doesn't really have a way of reporting that, if a house was listed for 400,000 and it sold for 400,000, but the seller paid 10,000 in closing costs for the buyer, there's no way for this to know that. So those are still happening, but the actual sales price itself is closer to what that list price is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And if I'm throwing out terms, because it's part of today is the language of real estate. So we're going to be talking about a lot of real estate terms. So if there's anything where I'm going too fast or you're like, what does that mean? Definitely don't hesitate to interrupt me, but these will kind of help you speak in that language. Now, if we go down a little bit farther into that, what it's looking at, get that inventory. So the active average sales price right now is 611,862. Obviously, that's a formula. So around 600,000 is what our active listing price right now is in Eugene. And the ones that are pending on average are pending around 560. So that shows you that the market is a little bit hotter right under that 600, so around 560. Those ones are getting accepted offers more frequently than the ones that are above that 600. And then this kind of shows that breakdown. So if on average of the ones that have closed, the original list price was 525,000 about. The final list price, meaning some of those had price reductions, were on average around 510,000. And then what they sold for was on average around 504,000. So again, showing that there's some fluctuation, which is where I say we are feeling like even though the inventory doesn't look like it, we're in more of a balanced market right now. Because for a while, when we truly were in our full seller's market, these were almost reversed, right? They would list at 504 and receive offers for 525 and sell for 525. So we weren't seeing that fluctuation down where we are seeing a little bit of that softening now, even though we still have a low inventory. Now, you guys can pull these reports for any of your areas. You can do counties, you can do cities. So this is a really great tool if you're going to meet with a buyer, you're going to meet with a seller to show them, and you can even then more strategically show them what is happening specifically in their price range, not just what is happening in the entire city. And you can print out these market snapshot reports so that, if you're going and meeting with a seller and that you're talking about a list price of 425, you're able to break it down for them. Like, this is what your specific market looks like, how much inventory is in your specific market. Because as you can see, the conversation might be different if you go and take a listing at 475, where there's 24 active and the average days on market is 90. There's 15 pending. And they're getting 100.1% of list price. See, that's that over where it's more competitive in that range right now. And they have 1.4 months of inventory. That conversation is going to look different than if you're going and meeting with someone for an $800,000 listing, where there might be a little bit less competition, but there's more inventory. So they're sitting on the market for a little bit longer, right? Average 157 days instead of 90, almost twice the amount of time. And there's 3 months of inventory, and they're getting a little bit less, just a little bit less than asking instead of more than asking. So you're able to really navigate those conversations in an intelligent way with them, describing what their current market looks like. So you can look at these. It looks like there's more pages on here too. And it goes down. So it breaks it down to under 500, 500 to 1 million, 1 million over. And then if you looked at Eugene versus Portland, that's going to look different. So these can be really great tools that you can utilize. All right, let's go back to our PowerPoint here. Lenders. So one of the great things, you guys will meet a lender tomorrow. There'll be a couple throughout the program that you'll get to meet. And then as you come to things in your offices as well, you'll meet more lenders. Also coming into the market, you'll get lenders reaching out to you for those communications as well. But they're going to constantly send information about what the interest rates are doing and how that might affect the different loan programs they have. For instance, when the interest rates have gone up, we have seen more loan programs like the 3-2-1 buy downs or the 2-1 buy downs, where buyers are paying a little bit more or asking a little bit more from the sellers for those costs at closing, but then they're buying down that interest rate. And those types of programs were non-existent when we were doing loans for 3.5%, right? But now that we're at 6% or 7%, those are more common just to help offset some of that cost. So keeping up with lenders and what's going on there, and not only listening to the media, because that will kind of lead you astray some, can be really helpful as well. Okay. So if you go in to, how many of you already have like an Area Pro login that you're aware of?
I do. I already went into there and set my areas and looked around at it quite a bit too.
Perfect. Okay, great. And then Taryn, do you have yours as well?
Yes.
Okay,
think
perfect.
so.
Okay, good. So I think majority, if not all of you, have access to do this kind of next activity, which is in your book. So it looks like this. And it wants you to go in and identify what is the inventory of your market, what is an average number of days a home stays on the market, what is the average price a home in your market sells for. So all of those things that we just talked about, go ahead and identify from your Area Pro. I'll stop sharing so you guys can access your screen a little bit more easily. And if you don't have access to this now, you can do it as part of your homework. But I think it'd be good for some of you to go through and fill that in. So I'll give you just 5 minutes to do that. One moment, okay.
It asked for the average mortgage interest rates. Where do we find that on Area Pro?
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. So Area Pro won't have that, but that's typically what you'll see from that lender communication. They are right around like 6.5% right now. And then Area Pro won't have the unemployment or employment rate right now either. If you're coming to like state of the industry and those sort of things, you'll see those rates communicated, as well as if you go into, let me see if I can find this real quick to share with you, because I think these are really beneficial.
I have Mortgage News Daily that I open up each morning that shows
Yeah.
the current fixed and whatnot. Is that pretty accurate? Because it says it's 7.24 right now.
Yeah, that should be fairly accurate. And give you a range. Interest, and part of that's hard too, because that will show an average. Someone with a higher credit score is typically going to have a little bit better of an interest rate, someone with a lower credit score, and that can come into other risk factors too, like lower, higher debt to income ratios can make a impact on that. The type of loan, so typically with FHA, VA, those interest rates are going to be lower than conventional interest rates, so those will factor into it. Whereas sometimes like a down payment assistance program might have a little bit higher of an interest rate to kind of offset that cost. So that can make a big difference. And so I always, when I'm speaking with buyers and sellers, speak very generically about what the current interest rates are, because they will factor differently for a lot of people. Same with different lenders will have different interest rates as well. So I try to find why is the search button not working? What's going on here? Okay, well, KW Connect's not working for me right now. I don't know why. Let's see if I try reaching it through. This is so big. Okay, yep, perfect. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, found it. So if you go into command and you go into and you search vision speech, the vision speech slide deck for 2024 will come up. And he does this every single year. So the one for 2025 will happen at family reunion in February. So this, oh, see, I told you it wasn't working. Okay. So, oops. It will look like this, and you have to hit this. Okay. See, it really isn't loving me today. Why? It's obviously having problems. It says it's Monday. Okay, exit that. Let's try to go back in. Go back to connect. We're going to do vision, speech, slide deck 2024. I just clicked on this first one. And then view in full screen. And these will give you the numbers that drive US real estate, It's going to talk about mortgage rates, inventory, total market value. So these are really great slides to become familiar with. This talks about annual home sales. And these were projections. So you saw it orange here because that was what they were projecting when it was February of 2024. We ended a little bit differently there. So you have to take that into consideration. But this is home sales monthly in 2022 and 2023. So it just shows that there was a dip there. This talks about home prices and then again what they were projecting. Annual appreciation historically. So I'm not going to go through all of these obviously because that's not really part of what we're doing today, but these would be really great for you guys to spend some time familiarizing yourself with. If you want another little bit of a homework assignment, this looks at mortgage rates annually. So where they've been, where they were, and then where they were going. Mortgage rates monthly. And then talks about affordability. So affordability changed quite a bit. And then ignore the Canadian ones because we're not in Canada, but Canadians do come to family reunion. So the US economy, so it goes over unemployment. This is where I was going with this. Unemployment annually. So annually, our unemployment's really low. So we're not going to see a slowing in the market from unemployment currently because pretty much anyone who wants a job has a job currently. This is not ever going to go much lower because there's always going to be people that are intentionally unemployed, like stay-at-home parents or retired people. They exist. So yeah, this is pretty low. Not going to really go below there. If we saw that increase, then we might see that affect the market some. Personal saving rates. This is also going to talk about like how much savings people have. So that also affects people's buying power. Inflation. And again, some of this was projected. Consumer sentiment. So all of these, and again, we're going to skip over the Canadian stuff because we're not in Canada, but then US events, it's going to go over like how many real estate sites were per an agent, the volume per an agent, listings with price drops, new listings, distressed sales, credit conditions, student loan debt, household debt service ratio, economic risks. So all of this is like really good to just be aware of as people are like, hey, is this affecting buying or how is this affecting buying? This will kind of give you those, and there's videos, you can watch him giving the speech and listen to what he says about these different slides too. So that could be a really good use of your time. Okay, going out of that, back to our PowerPoint. And so that kind of goes over those economic factors. And then other market factors could be things that drive people to want to live in a certain area. So for instance, there's in Portland, right? Like Lake Oswego is probably going to have different appeal than someone who's wanting to move to Beaverton or Hillsborough. Like they each kind of have different things or attractions that move people there. So if you see like if someone put in a big Google facility, you're going to see an influx of people moving to that area to work for that big facility or a new hospital versus if you have something that's kind of like an area that's kind of stagnant. Eugene, for example, is really known for people kind of coming from college or coming to go to college here and then starting their careers, and then they leave this area to go to areas where there might be more opportunity or bigger opportunities. So like doctors will start here and then move to areas like Portland or move out of the state to other areas where there's more opportunity because there isn't a ton of growth here in that way. But we get an influx of like U of O teachers, and different things like that. And then different areas like South Eugene will have a little bit different market statistics than North Eugene, and they're going to have different price points. They're going to have different average sales price days on market. Those things will fluctuate a little bit differently just because of the demand of those different areas in town. So knowing that as well. And that's where one of the things that's on your guys' daily 10-4s is to preview 10 homes a week. So this is kind of part of why you would want to preview homes on a regular basis to get familiar with what type of homes are in different areas of your town, what types of homes are in different price points. And that way, as you're meeting with clients, you can confidently decipher for them the different accessibility of price points, right? Like if someone is moving to Eugene and they tell me that like a big backyard because they have kids is really important to them, then that might actually kind of tell me what areas of town they may be more comfortable in, because if you were out in the South Hills, your backyard might be not really usable for kids. It's known to be very hilly and kind of hard to grow grass in. So having those types of conversations will help navigate people to where you can help them find homes that meet their criteria. Any ahas so far?
Can I ask a quick question, Mara?
Of course.
What are the differences between the two Eugene cities on Area Pro?
So I think, I'm not 100% sure, I think those are just access to like everyone's that's set in there, in the, like if you went in and set up your own Eugene, so it might have slightly different areas of what they listed in Eugene, would be my guess, or they were in different time periods.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes. Any other ahas or questions before we move on? All right, we kind of talked a little bit about this, learning your clientele, getting familiar with your market, keeping the headlines in context. So LORE, that stands for Language of Real Estate. Those are all those real estate terms we went through. And then knowing your business. So part of the reason we encourage you to always track your numbers in your business is because they will change over time and you will find patterns in your business. So after a few years, you might decide like, oh, look at all my closed sales every year. September is a really busy month for me, or August is a really busy month for me, or I never have any closings in January. And part of that you can kind of help yourself prepare for, because there will always be an ebb and flow. And some markets are hotter than others. So just being aware of that, but then also like, hate to say the dirty word of election year, but people right around election time commonly will be like, oh, I'm waiting to see what happens after this election. And if you look historically, nothing really changes after elections, regardless of like who wins or what happens, but there's always this pause. And so we kind of felt that as working real estate agents right around that election time, people going, oh, well, it's election, I'm going to wait and see what happens with the election. Nothing really is going to change for them one way or the other after the election, but you might see that pause happen. Sometimes we also see that like right when school gets out, or right around a specific holiday, or right when school goes back into session, we'll have these kind of pregnant pauses of people not doing anything in the real estate world. And so it's good not to like panic during those moments, but also when you're like listing homes, helping people kind of navigate around that so they don't feel like they're navigating in a pause. Learning your clientele. So part of what's going to benefit you is kind of finding, I hate using the word niche because I don't necessarily think that we're all going to like find a niche that we work within, but you will find, I like to call it like your ideal clientele, right? Like if you had a choice to work with anyone you want, who would that be? And envisioning who they are and how you would connect with them can kind of help you grow your sphere in that way. For instance, I'm just going to use examples. If I'm a mom and I think that I will connect best with other people going through their parenting lifestyle right now, right? Like other moms and dads who are working and like the outdoors or like animals, then I might put myself in those networks more, and that might help attract those type of people to me. And I'm also going to be pretty familiar with what type of houses will work well with that clientele. And then finding key factors of like what in this market would benefit for them. When the interest rates first went up, it was not something I focused a ton on to go after people who were like having babies and running out of space in their home, because the difference between them moving up into a bigger home and moving up into a different interest rate was a lot for some people. So it had to really make sense for them to be moving. So when we first saw this interest rate, I was like, okay, I'm going to focus a little bit more on people getting divorced, people who have acquired property through death in their family, people who are moving out of the area or moving to the area, because those types of motivating factors are going to lead people to buy regardless of what the interest rate is, or sell regardless of what the interest rate is, because they're at a time in their life. Whereas the people that are just wanting a little bit more space are really questioning whether it financially makes sense to make that move up right now. Now, as it's eased a little bit, people have settled in from the shock factor of that interest rate increase, and there's loan options available like the 3-2-1 buy down and stuff like that. Now we can kind of circle back to those conversations and say like, okay, are you really out of space? Are you unhappy in your space? How could you move yourself forward and still investing in real estate with this current market the way it is? This really circles back to learning to listen to people, learning what's motivating them, learning what's important and driving that, because that's oftentimes, especially when negotiations get hard during a transaction, what you're going to have to circle back around to. Let me make sure I'm not skipping over anything it wants me to really talk about. We talked about that. And guys, we're doing good. One of the other things, I think we're going to get into some social media stuff here shortly too, but when you do see a bunch of headlines in the market, marketing, like say you're scrolling through Facebook and you see people talking about a specific topic over and over again, like lack of housing or interest rates going high, or how are the tariffs going to affect this, or anything like that, being able to reach out to some local experts that you trust, either whether it's another mortgage lender and asking what they're seeing, or making sure you're tuning into trainings within the office will help you navigate that. And then sometimes even putting out content, whether it's a Facebook post or a reel or a video or whatever it is, that talks a little bit about the reality of how that would affect you in your market, will help people see you as an expert who they can come and ask further questions to, or open and engage in that conversation. Like, hey, we were thinking about selling, but I see that everything right now is sitting on the market for 3 months, so maybe we shouldn't sell. Well, what would it be that they are selling? Why would they sell? And does it really matter if it takes, a month or two to find the right buyer for their property versus what they intend on doing with that money or what they intend on recycling out of that sale. For instance, I had a seller recently who had an investment property and she was finding it hard to meet her monthly bills every month and some bigger expenses that were coming out, and she is retired, so her comfort level of living like that was decreasing. So we looked at selling. She had a lot of equity in the property, and we had to kind of get the tenant out of there, and it did take a couple months to find a buyer, but ultimately it still made sense for her to sell. And her daughters kept kind of being like, well, maybe we should wait until the spring. Well, this specific house, for instance, had a small backyard. So some of the feedback we were getting was, oh, the house is really great, but the backyard's small. Well, if you wait until the spring when the other people are listing their homes because it's pretty outside and it's fun to shop and it's easy to move, you're just gonna have more competition. So while you might think, oh, there's a bigger buyer pool in spring and things will look cuter, I'll wait until spring, you're actually gonna be competing against more other houses, which actually could not benefit you in this factor. So we should actually just sit on the market for another month, maybe do a small price reduction, negotiate a closing for you and get that sold versus waiting for the spring when things might be a little bit more pretty, but you've now had this house sitting vacant for 3 more months and you're now competing against more houses. So that's where you just really need to like listen to people's concerns, listen to the things that they're hearing in the market, right? That's one of those things people always hear, oh, list the house in the spring, list the house in the spring. For some people, that makes sense depending on what's driving them, but sometimes it does make sense to list faster or sooner and get that sold already. This kind of helps. You'll see if you come to like the all partners meetings or the state of the industry monthly, they'll go over some of those language of real estate numbers, and you'll see a graph they call like a pink and green, and that kind of goes over like what's the MLS saying. And the MLSs will email you monthly statistics too, so those are always kind of fun to like look at and see what sales are happening in different areas, being aware of like how many price reductions are happening, and being able to help people kind of navigate like intellectually past the headlines that they're seeing out there in the news, because that can kind of scare people away from doing a real estate transaction if, for instance, they hear everything's sitting on the market forever. Or we hear, oh, we still have really low inventory, so you might have a buyer who thought about buying when they were competing against 10 other offers and couldn't be aggressive enough because they needed closing costs. But now, if they went out into the market and searched, they would be able to get that closing cost covered because there's less competition. So, helping them kind of navigate and be aware of those changes that are happening, even if it's not like what's making the headlines. Utilizing your resources. So, we talked about like Command. We talked about Area Pro, which is a really great resource to utilize. In Command, you can, let me go over here and bring up Command for you again. Hopefully it's being a little bit more communicative. So there are a few under campaigns. Oops, here we go. Actually, I'm trying to think of what the easiest way to show you this is. Okay, let's look at Alex Rossi. So if we are in her neighborhood, we're gonna add a neighborhood here. She's in, this is weird, I don't know what that is. Cresswell. Oh, it wants me to be, okay, let's find it on the map. So I can go into Cresswell. She lives like right here. Oh, that's why I had Griffey. That makes more sense. Okay. So she's like right in here. I'm gonna add both of these to her and we can save. And then we can I can set her up to receive these marketing updates. So it's going to show me the houses that are on the market, like her average list price in that area right now is $415. The average days on market 6. There's currently 2 listings. And so I can set it up that she actually gets this sent to her monthly, and it'll go over different like properties. So these are the 2 houses that are currently in that little neighborhood that she's in. She can look at recently sold. So this kind of is like unique and personalized to them where they live. So as you're calling your database and you're adding people to your database, this is something you can offer them as well of like, hey, I can set you up on a neighborhood market update and they'll get these monthly. And then they can click through some of this stuff as well if they're wanting to just keep up on what's going on in their neighborhood. Even if they're not thinking about selling or buying, people like being nosy and seeing kind of what's going on in their market. It's fun. So, and you can set this as big or small. So I could add like as many of these little neighborhoods to hers as I want. And that can be really fun too. So that's another KW resource that you can use. Okay, going back over here. I think this is going to talk about that. Okay, okay. Establish your business on social media. Here's the social media part of it we're going to go through. Any questions so far? Okay, so this talks about establishing your business on social media. A part of your success system involves social media and other enrichment. Some of you guys have these on your GPS or your 411 as part of your goals as well. So this suggests liking 10 posts a day, writing 5 comments a day, and sending 1 direct message a day. Part of what you are doing when you do this is messing with the algorithms. So if part of your goal is to establish your business on social media, then obviously you should be posting some posts on social media. However, the way that the systems work is that you could make posts on social media every day. And if you aren't engaging and interacting with other people on social media, then the same 20 people could be seeing your content every day, right? Even if you had 500 friends, it's not showing your content to all 500 friends. So messing with that algorithm, if you're going through your different friend lists and liking their posts or commenting on their posts or sending them a message, then Facebook says, hey, oh, these people want to see each other's content. These people want to engage with each other. And so it's expanding who it's showing your content to. 1051 is one. I've taken social media courses, and one of the other ones is like 555. And so you comment on 5 people's posts a day, you direct message 5 people a day, and then you either interact or add like 5 groups a day. So if you're on like hiking Pacific Northwest Women group or reading thrillers books or biking and Washington, whatever Facebook group you're on, if you went and you commented on something in there or made a post in there or went and joined another group, then that would count towards one of those 5. So that's another way that you can track social media engagement interaction. This one's a good one. That one has a little bit more direct messaging. One of the things I did in the very beginning when I was building my business was I went and direct messaged every single person I was Facebook friends with. And I had 2 screens open. I'd have one where I would go to their page and I would find something personal on their page, like a recent vacation or a new job or a baby or family or puppy or whatever it was. And I would be like, hey, I saw you got a new puppy. So cute. How's puppy training going? by the way, I don't know if you saw, I got into real estate. If you know anyone, I'd love to help. Or I'm sure you've seen on my Facebook that I got into real estate. I love to help anyone you know. And so I kind of kept that personal interaction with it. And I just went through everyone over a couple week period and got some business from it, got some referrals later for it. You have to put on a little bit of your tough skin because not everyone responds. And sometimes you're like, oh, they ignored me. Like, that's kind of sad. But then they would message like 3 months later and be like, hey, we are getting pre-approved. Will you be our agent? So it definitely kind of came back around, but it's a good way to implement some of this in your lead generation daily. Anyone have any like good success with posts that they've made so far that have received like a lot of engagement or they've considered to be successful? Go through. Okay.
I do have a question. If somebody was gonna post so many, you know, like once a day on social media or whatever, what types of posts would somebody just starting out, what would you recommend they post? Cause I mean, not having any buyers or seller, you know, just.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you post?
Absolutely, really great question. So there's a few different things that you can approach. I typically encourage people, one, don't start with necessarily every day. That can be overwhelming. Maybe start with like 3 days a week and then work your way up from there. But there's almost always some market statistics that you have access to, whether it's going on to Area Pro and pulling something from a different area, right? Like you could do different parts of Portland and rotate through those every Monday, once a week. This Monday it's Lake Oswego, this Monday it's Hillsborough, this Monday it's Beaverton, whatever it is. And do some market stats there. You could use statistics from the MLS or something that you hear on State of Industry or something like that and make a little like infographic. There is definitely stuff where you can like you should be previewing homes weekly. So if you want to like take a little mini tour or take a picture of like your favorite home you've gone and toured, showing that you're doing those real estate activities, and you don't even have to say like, hey, I just went and toured this myself. I didn't have a buyer with me. It's just, hey, look what house I looked at today. Because then people will start like, seeing that you're doing those real estate activities. And then one could be like a fact about the real estate market, or something about your local area. Because one of the things you want people to do is start thinking of you as that local expert too, right? So maybe you highlight a local plumber and a local electrician the following week and a local pest management and a local landscaper, and like you could highlight other businesses as well, that kind of correlate with what you're doing but also are different. And then when I really need just like ideas, if you go into the design library in Command, I'm just gonna go to create a social design. There are lots of templates in here. So like you said, if you don't have anything that's, and obviously if you're doing open houses, you can post on that too. But if you don't have those things currently going on, then you could go down, they have like monthly holidays. So you can obviously hit something for that when applicable. So these are funny, or like game day. And then they have ones that are, they have different collections. We don't need that. Local experts. So these are where you can put some of those market statistics into, so you can like utilize these graphics and then fill in the different market statistics that you can get from Area Pro. And then here's like some open house templates. So these are all like really cute looking. And then you obviously don't need coming soon. The other, I know I've suggested, so sorry if this is a repeat to some of you, but I know I haven't told all of you. If you are really just like, I am not good at creating content or coming up with content, go to Etsy, type in real estate social media posts. And you will have a million things on your, don't spend $35 or whatever it is. But look at this, 100 January real estate templates. Just going to use this as an example because you could find as many as you wanted. This bundle here is $4.20, and they are going to give you editing access to all of these. So, make this bigger. Yeah, here we go. Reasons to include an escalation clause. You would put your information on here. Here's a little educational topic. Or how long does a mortgage pre-approval last? Oops. New year, new mortgage, refinancing, key benefits. Benefits of buying a foreclosure in January. So obviously you don't need 100 in January, but this would allow you to choose. These are like self-promotional ones. So you would put your headshot here, my services as a buyer's agent, and you can edit any of what this says. If you have a testimonial, looking for a realtor, my goals, you could edit any of what these circles say. So anything like this, I always suggest, like if you're really struggling with like, what do I post? What's the content? You do not have to spend a lot of money. You could spend, you know, $4 or $5, $10. This would be the 650 Mega Realtor templates. That would be enough for more than a year's worth of postings, or 120 templates, fully editable Instagram templates. And anything you can post on Instagram, you can also post on Facebook, just so you know. 30,000 bestseller templates, real estate marketing bundle. That's $31, but you don't need 30,000 of them. And you could even say like, oops, spring real estate marketing posts. And you'll get, oh, there's a full year bundle, but here we go. Spring. 20 spring realtor Instagram posts for $5, 70 real estate marketing templates for $4.20, 30 real estate May spring posts for $5. So obviously you probably kind of get the point, but you do not have to reinvent the wheel. No one's gonna know that you went on Etsy and bought something and think differently of you, but you can totally put your information on it. You can pick which ones you like and which ones you don't like, or if some of it's not really applicable to your current market or your area, you can either not use that one or like edit it. But it at least kind of gives you like the aesthetic that you're looking for and gives you ideas. So sometimes when I'm like, crap, I haven't posted in a couple days, I'll just go into my templates and pick something that, the one that I got like a couple years ago, I'm still kind of just using that one, and I'll go in and it'll have like a key term that they might hear in the real estate world that no one really knows what it means. Like, what does it mean to be pending? Or an engagement post, like, do you like this or do you like that? Anything like that can be kind of fun and easy to use.
Thank you so much. That was all very helpful.
Yes, you're welcome.
Mara, I have a question about that. If we buy something in it's we have to review for the office before to make the post. No?
Nope. As long as you have, so with social media, the one rule is that it has to be clear that you are a licensed real estate agent in the state of Oregon within one click. So if you're posting it from your page and it's obvious on your page that you're a licensed real estate agent in the state of Oregon with Keller Williams, then you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Obviously, don't like post anything hateful and discriminatory and stuff like that. But basically, all you need to do for social media is just make sure that's available within one click. Perfect. Any other questions? Because that's majority of like the content that I have for you guys today.
As far as Facebook goes, would
Yeah.
you recommend creating an account like where you can friend people or having a page that people go and like?
I recommend having a page and then posting almost everything that you post on your page on your personal one too, as long as you're comfortable having people have access. And the way I view it is like, hey, you're a business owner now, remove anything that maybe you don't want representing you as a business owner, but use your personal page because that's going to already have a built-in sphere of influence from people that already know you and like you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Perfect. Well, that's what I've got today, guys. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.